So I thought I'd show you my new watercolour palette because I haven't tried it out yet and I wanted to have a go with it. But I wanted to show you how I developed it because it sort of stemmed from my 100-day project and my Route 52 project at the same time. So I was going back through all the weeks that I'd done in my book and picking out different shapes because I had this idea of, I was calling it from the edge, of coming in instead of kind of trying to do a composition of something. If you just kept turning your page and coming in from the edges. And so I went back through and I found various things that I'd studied. So this was the ink cap, was it? Fairy ink cap mushroom. So I popped that on there. I just did it with a bit of pen and watercolour. That was blueberry, daffodil, seed pod there. This was this one, the hogweed. And then that was the fern that had the little common polypody fern. And it had the sori clusters. So that was that one. So I was doing this kind of thing and I didn't finish it because it was just an idea. Snowdrop was there. And it just seemed like a nice way to kind of amalgamate the book into a kind of image. And then I was thinking, I'd taken my little ceramic palette to the studio, so I don't have it here. And these palettes are a bit small. And I really wanted one where I could put gouache down, a white gouache down, and then add watercolours and kind of have it all on one palette. So I thought I would make a palette. And my initial idea was that if I was filming, I would quite like a really long palette to have at the top. So I thought I could have something that kind of worked like this. So I could have my book and have all of my colours and things at the top there. And so it would still be filmable. And then I thought, gosh, they kind of look like wings. And so as it turned out, if you turn them, it kind of looked like the butterflies that I'd sort of seen when I went to the Zoological Museum in Cambridge. I'd been looking at these kind of wing patterns and things. I thought, gosh, that really does look like it. And I could put a little body in here. And I thought, you know what I do need is something to wipe my brush on when I've been in between washes. And I thought, oh, I could make a little kind of spongy body that looked like a butterfly. So that's what I did. I had this scrap of fabric, which I thought kind of went well. It was just this little, this kind of velvety fabric. And I just drew that shape out and cut 2 pieces and stitched around it. It's really wonky and lovable. And then I just stitched some bugle beads with little pearl tops on for little kind of antenna. So these are bugle beads. They're the long, thin ones. Yeah, so I haven't tried it out. The other thing I did actually, I initially thought I could embed some beads in it, kind of like as an ode to my sewing, I suppose. So I did, but I didn't like it once they were in. It didn't feel quite right. So that is what these little, I don't know if you can see them, there's little indentations which I turned into kind of a pattern of ivy or vines, but they're kind of indented into the clay, and I just filled them in with a thin brush with watercolour. And then this is just a fine liner, and it worked really well. The air dry clay is really lovely to work on. It sucks away the medium really quickly, so it dries really quickly. So it's quite tricky. You have to kind of go over it a bit, but it doesn't smudge or anything like that once you put a varnish on the top. So it's really nice for that. It just holds its own. It's as it was when I put it on there. And then the pink is actually a highlighter pen, just a normal highlighter pen. I wanted to add a bit of kind of ping to it. I didn't want it to look too traditional. And then I really liked the line work without any colour on it as well as a kind of background thing. So that was kind of drawing from this kind of work I'd done already. So I just used Hobbycraft air dry clay. I've got a massive tub of it. I tend to do that. If I see something in bulk, I always kind of go crazy and buy it. And then all I did was roll out a kind of thickness, and then I used a spoon just to push these indentations in, making sure I didn't go through. And then I bought some Cadence Aquastone varnish. It's a gloss varnish, but it's for ceramics and stones and kind of those sorts of porous materials, and it makes them waterproof apparently. So I haven't tried it, so I'm going to try it out, and I really hope it works, because I think that they're just lovely and I'm so pleased with them. So I did 2 coats of gloss on the top and 1 on the back, and the sides have got 2 coats as well, and I just laid them on plastic sheeting and did it so that it wouldn't stick or anything like that. Just completely in love with him. I think he's adorable and I want to give him a go, so let's try him out. I'm just going to put water on first. It does appear to be working, so this is thrilling. Some sienna in there. Well, it certainly does hold the watercolour, and it hasn't soaked in at all, so it does seem to work. The other thing that I did want to do was make another one where I could actually put my creamy watercolours that are in the tube in and let them dry so I can just use them. Some of them are starting to dry out in their tubes and I want to get them out, because that's perfectly fine to do that. So I never throw them away. I'll just cut them open and put the dry watercolour into like a pot or something. But I'd like to actually create a palette of that. That's my next thought. But yes, it works and I'm thrilled. So yeah, if you want to have a go, that's what you do. It's quite simple and enjoyable. It takes a little while because you have to allow it to dry. So this took me a few days to put together. Yeah, really, really pleased with that. That's fabulous. I didn't try out the little body. It seems a little bit of a shame to ruin him, but I can always make another one. He might become more exciting as he gets sort of colours on his body, and it'll tell a little bit of a story, be a bit of a history to him. Yeah, so that's my new watercolour palette, my butterfly watercolour palette.